I'd like to take a moment to thank my channel members. Thank you. It's continued support like yours that keeps this channel growing. And if you haven't already, please consider joining today. Hello and welcome. I'm Bert the Stormtrooper, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Studio 01 Cell, and I love this toy. This is a figure that is meant to be like a techno-organic Cell, but he also comes with the Armor MB-08 armor kit, which is an add-on kit made also by Studio One, which helps convert this figure into Unicron. And this is an absolutely breathtaking figure, an absolutely massive figure that I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to shoot, and I still don't think I got it right because it's just absolutely massive and difficult to shoot. I'm going to do my best here, but as you can see, I'm zoomed out, and you can see some of the stuff around my desk here. So this is going to be a tricky one to shoot. Let's just go along for the ride together. So this was a gift, actually, from a longtime personal friend and channel member, James, a friend of mine, also channel member known as Laughing Cat. James and I have known each other for well over a decade. We met in the 501st. We've been friends for many, many years. And he has sent me stuff in the past, like he sent me that MP Rodimus that I reviewed a few years back. And he reached out to me recently. He said, hey, I'm coming by. I got something for you for the channel. I'm like, okay, cool. He shows up with this. I was absolutely my mind was absolutely blown. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I thought he was joking. No, he was 100% serious. Here you go for the channel. I'd like for you to have this. So James, Laughing Cat, thank you so very much. This is an absolute stunning figure that just takes away attention from everything else in my collection. It's just such a stunning figure. So I'm probably going to be slipping here, and I'm going to start going away from calling him Cell, and I'm probably going to start falling into calling him Unicron, so just so you guys know. But here in his planetoid mode, he has a diameter of approximately 9 inches, 13 if you go to the outsides of the ring, and then with the stand that I have him here on, which also comes included with him, he stands at approximately 17 inches tall, and this thing is just absolutely beautiful. We're going to go all the way around, so you can see he's a representation of Unicron as we saw him in the animation. And it's just a big giant mech up planet that I'm about to knock over. I don't want to do that. So there you go. So you can see what he looks like all the way around. He comes with a couple of things. So as you can see here, I got him on this base right here. So he comes with 2 of these. You notice that I have him on both right now. So let's separate that. Let's move that over. And let's put him down so that I can show off a couple of the other things that he comes with. These mandibles are, I guess he has articulation in planet mode, so we should talk about that. So the mandibles here, these are articulated. These are on a ball joint, so you can rotate these and you can move them in and out. And then the little teeth here on the maw, these can open and close. He comes with 2 of these. As you see, he's got 1 there. He also comes with 2 of these. And there's a couple of different things that you can do with these. I'll talk about those in a moment. He also comes with a couple of extra panels, and I didn't even bother to take these out. These are really cool. So what these are replacement panels. If you look over here on the side, you might notice, if you remember in the animation, he was mostly just a silver ball with this yellow stripe going around the side here. But in the case of this figure here, we got some yellow panels here and here. So these are replacement panels. You can pop these panels off. You can put these in their place. So you can have the whole silver ball with just the orange stripe. So you have an animation accurate planet. Now when it comes to the robot mode, those panels end up on his arms. So he would have gray arms instead of yellow arms, which is the reason I don't have them on, and I'm not going to put them on. If you're going to display this in planet mode, then yeah, that might be the way to go. I display mine in robot mode, so I leave them like this. He also comes with a couple of pegs and for screw holes and, little screw covers and stuff like that. I didn't even bother putting those on. I never do, because I never know if I'm going to need to get in there to do a repair or something, so I just never put those on. Those end up in the bag for me. Like I said, he comes with 2 of these, and there's a couple of things that you can do here. So the ring itself is part of the add-on kit. So this isn't part of the base figure. The idea is that you have this. Instead, this has a little plug, and it pegs into the side over here, and then these pop in with these little pegs and ports right here. So there would be 2 of these, and you would have one on each side. And that's the whole idea behind the cell. It's a techno-organic cell. So if you imagine like a cell in your body or something like that, that's what the whole point is on that. But another thing that you can do with this is if you close the maw here, let's see, I'm not quite sure the order that I wanted to go in. He does have an electronic feature. The maw does open, so there's a little button right there. If you press on that, that's going to light up, which makes that really, really neat. However, if you take a good look in there, you can see that the robot's head is just resting right in there. So one thing you can do if you want to go a little more animation accurate is you can close off these teeth, and then you can grab one of these, and these are just going to peg in right here. So you can peg this thing in right over this. So it gives it a little bit more of an animation accurate maw right there. So that looks pretty neat. And then if you want to take it a step further, again, if you're displaying in planet mode, this is really, really cool. You can take this and peg it into place. Let's open up the mandibles a little more. And we'll peg that right in there. So now you can kind of do that effect where you probably have to stand them a little better. You could probably use the other one of these as a stand to hold this up. But as it is, I'm just going to leave it right there. But there you go. Now you've got that kind of like that effect when he's eating a planet and he's just kind of vacuuming everything in. You can kind of do that, which is really neat. So he's got a couple of different display options, which is actually pretty neat. We'll pop these off to the side. Like I said, this thing is absolutely massive and challenging to shoot. I actually considered doing a camera facing me review, kind of like I did with Titan Scorponok, but then I decided against it. There you go. Absolutely massive figure, and what I have here next to me on my desk is G1 Optimus Prime. So you can see the planet mode. Like I said, the diameter on the planetoid base here is about 9 inches. With the ring, it's about 13. So it's not that big yet. Wait until we get to robot mode. This thing just explodes, and it's really cool because, again, I'll go ahead and pick them up now. You can see that just kind of slides in there. This is just panels. You don't see any robot bits sticking out anywhere here. It's just absolutely impressive how they did this. So when he starts to transform, he's really just going to open up and blow up and grow even further. So let me reset here, and we'll get right into the transformation. And again, I don't know how I'm going to go about showing all of the steps in detail, but we're going to give it a shot. Here we go. So to start transformation, we're going to start by removing the ring right here. I'm going to use this base for now, just to kind of hold them in place. Actually, well, let's start by taking all of these spikes and folding them down. Some of these spikes are very likely to pop off. These are just on a little kind of like an open hinge. So there's a good chance that some, if not a lot, of these spikes are going to just pop off during transformation. If they do, I'm just going to set them off to the side, and then I'll put them back on at the end once he's transformed. So with the spikes put away, we're going to work on getting this thing out. This thing can be a little tricky because this thing fits in there super, super tight, and it almost feels like you're going to break it. So I got this part out. And the idea here is that we need to split this thing, which is not an easy thing to do because of the way that it latches together. It latches in, but also on top of each other, up and down. And putting this thing in and out almost feels like you're going to break it every time. That actually came out a lot easier than I was expecting it to. But you want to be real careful of these little hook pieces here because that's what it feels like. You're going to break those. So you want to be careful with those. We'll go over to the other side. Oh, put these spikes away. These need to get put away. And we should have some over here as well. Put these away. There and there. Alrighty, let's work on getting this one out. So same thing. We should be able to get it out a little easier now. Find somewhere to split it. And this is the one that's going to be difficult. This is the one that's going to choose violence. See if I can get in here somehow. It's usually easier if you start at the end here, not instead of the base. But there's like no just stabbed myself in the finger. Goodness. Be careful, guys. This thing is Yeah, this thing is a bit of a beast. And then we're going to come here to the sides and just pop this off. This is the only bit of parts formation that you're going to do on the entire figure. There is one half of the ring. Here, we'll take this one off. That is the other half of the ring. And before I knock it down, let me just move this back. There. Stand that there. All right, so on the halves of the rings, we had these folded. So we're going to straighten those out. There is a secondary piece here. You're going to untap that. And then you're going to open this. And you're just going to kind of bring these all together like so. And then angle that. And this is going to tab into his shoulder when he's in robot mode. So those are going to be those, kind of like those skeletal pieces that he has hanging off of him. So again, we'll fold that, angle that 2 clicks, and there we go. These are ready to go. We'll set these aside for when we are in robot mode. Continuing on, let's move these back over here and out of the way. And where do we want to go next? We can go ahead and untab these. We got to start untabbing. There's going to be a lot of panels on this guy. So we're just going to start the first half of the transformation is just untabbing panels. So let's see where to begin. Let's go down here. We're going to start off here with these panels. You want to look for this little kind of like this little orange ring right here. And we just want to start between this piece and this piece. We want to get one of these out. There's going to be 4 of these. This guy is pretty symmetrical, both in planet and in robot mode. So you're going to find a lot of these pieces match. So you see there's 2 here, and there's going to be 2 matching pieces on the other side. We may not need that for now. So let's see if we can do this here. All right, that's good. So we're going to swing this piece out, and then these panels are just going to fold in. And then this thing is going to fold in on itself. So we'll do that again over here. Take these, pop these out, fold the little triangle pieces in, and then fold that big piece. And repeat that on the other side. So again, we'll find this piece here. Work on popping this out. There we go. Fold in the little triangular pieces. Fold in this piece. And repeat one last time. There we go. Get that out. Fold in the triangles. Fold in that piece there. All right, we're all set there. Let's take these pieces here. We're just going to pop these out. There's a tab there on that side. There's a tab here. There's a tab here. So we're just going to reach in here and just kind of loosen those up. And that is on a, let's see, how do I explain this? It's kind of almost on a lever piece that has a ball joint and a hinge on each end. So this actually has quite a bit of maneuverability. So once you pop that out, take the little outside panels here and just flip those, and then just kind of leave that up and out of the way. So again, we're just going to repeat that 4 times. So we get this guy out too. And you got to get in there to get those panels out. At least now that you have a way, you really just want to get your finger in there and just pop those things up and out of the way. There you go. Again, we're popping out a lot of panels. It's really crazy the way that these panels are just going to hide and tuck away. I told you spikes were going to fall. We're just going to set those aside. We'll see how many of those we drop during the transformation. So again, up and out of the way. There's more spikes. There's 2. Count as 2. One last panel here. Get that up and out of the way there. Rotate that out and just kind of get those out of the way. We should be able to start on the arms now. And since this guy has already volunteered, we'll start right here. So you see that these panels popped up. So we'll lift this up so you can see what's happening here. Here's the first part of the arm. Get these out of the way. So there's the arm, or the lower part of the arm right there. You can see the fist right in there. This panel was just covering just like that, right? So we can reach right in here, and if you grab the forearm and pull on it, all of these panels should start popping up or popping out. So you start undoing all of those panels, and once you get enough leverage, you can kind of work it. You see there's a double hinge right in there, so you can kind of just work this down and out like so, which is going to allow us to continue working on the arm here. So let's see, this guy was already up and out of the way. We want to pop these right here. These little hinge pieces here are tough, man. So there you go. You pop that out, rotate it, tuck it in away. Pop that one out and tuck that in. That should release all of this. You're going to bring this up and over. Now, if you look up here, there's two little posts up here. So in order to fold this all the way up, there's a double hinge. You want to work this piece up and over that double hinge right there, just like that, just to get that out of the way. And then we're going to move this piece on its double hinge right here up and out of the way. It's a lot of doing here. Let's work on the lower part of the arm. We saw this panel come up. You can see the hand right in there. So we're going to go ahead and bring the fist out. This little panel is going to flip out. Take these panels here, rotate these like so. Bring this whole piece up, rotate it. And then we're going to bring this down. There's ports here, there's pegs there. So bring this whole thing down. There's a little slot in there for that spike to fit into. And then all of this is going to close and peg into place to form the forearm. And I am not sure which way it's going to face. I got to look and see which way the face is facing. Okay, so I think it's going to face this way. So we're going to go ahead and rotate that way and rotate the fist that way. There we go. So that's all set. Finally, we're going to take this piece here. We're going to rotate this. These pieces are going to fold in. That's going to come down. Is that right? No, that's not right. Hang on. Yeah, no, I had that right. I'm just doing it in the wrong order, I think. So we'll bring this out. This is going to come down like so. And then there's two slots here and here that are going to go into these tabs here and here. So work those in there, close these panels up, and then this piece is going to come down to form the top of the shoulder. And there we go. There's one arm done. And we're just now going to repeat the same thing. For the sake of time and sanity, I'm not going to show that for the other side. I'm just going to jump us ahead to where the other arm is already done. Okay, so there you go. Planetoid with arms. And we're ready to start on the legs, which are crazy because you saw the arms come out of this side. Where now this and this, the front and back here, these are the legs. This is absolutely crazy. I put these back on because apparently I'm a glutton for punishment. I fell right back off again. Let's start here with these panels here. These are going to be the chest panels, so we're just going to pop these off. And again, they're on levers with double hinges and ball joints at the end. So we're just going to move these up and out of the way, or out and out of the way. Do that on all sides here. Get everything out of the way. The way that these little panels work, they got so much mobility. It really does a good job of just being able to move things out of the way when you need them to be out of the way. These little yellow panels in here are connected to the legs. This one's already popped off. We want to pop this one off as well. This is going to release the legs. So pop those off on all the sides. And then finally, we're going to come down here to the bottom. And there's going to be a couple of clips here and here. Just pull up on these to release the legs. That should release everything right there. And we should be ready to start working on this leg. So we're going to want to come up here to the top. This little kind of like a semicircular panel right here, we're going to pop this out and bring this around and then just bring that back down. Again, there's a little tab right there, slot there. It's on a double ball joint, so that'll help you move it into place. And then we want to try and get this panel out of here like that. So this whole thing is going to lift up like so. This panel, again, lever with ball joint. So we're going to bring this down, rotate it around, tuck this in here. And then there's two pegs down there and two ports up there that are where it was pegged in their planet mode, basically. And we're just going to put that right back in there again. Come up here to the top. This is your foot. Isn't that crazy? The head's here, the foot's here. It's so cool the way that this thing transforms. So we're going to try to reach in here and get this whole thing up and out of the way here. Unpeg this foot panel here. There we go. So that's going to come out. And we should be able to grab the leg now. And we're going to pull. And this is probably one of the tightest joints here. And got one side. There's 4 clips in here. I managed to undo one and immediately clipped it right back in again. It is tight, and it's just one of those things I may need to do off camera, because I may end up taking half of this figure apart in my attempts to see how I've already undone that. I do not want that happening right now, so I want that clip back in place. I may end up taking half of this figure apart just trying to pull this. This is probably the hardest part right here. It's trying to get this foot out. So let me work on this, and I'll probably have to do a cut here. Okay, so once you manage to undo those clips there, you can bring the whole leg down. And these two clips were right in there. And yeah, they are very, very tight. So we can bring the leg down and extend it. That's going to extend all the way out. And we can work on the bottom of this leg right here. So we can move these panels out of the way. These pieces right here are going to untab from the side here. You see there's a little slot right there, and there's a little tab right there, so you can just bring this up and straighten it. Untap from the other side, bring these up and straighten it, and these are going to come together and clip right here to form the knee plate. And you just got to work them in there. For some reason, that doesn't want to work in there. This figure is not, I promise you that this figure is not that bad to transform when you're not doing it in front of a camera. Trying to work around a camera to do this is not the easiest thing to do, which is why I've been hesitating and trying to figure out how to transform this figure. When you got it in front of you and you got the room to work with, it's not bad. It's putting a camera between yourself and a figure always adds a level of challenge, and sometimes it turns a challenge into a frustrating experience. So like I usually don't have problems with these knees, and here I am having problems with these knees. So it's just one of those things. All right, let's see if I can get that straightened out, and then we'll continue on with the foot. Okay, we finally got that knee plate in place. It turns out that I actually popped the panel off, so I had to take a screw out and put everything back in. So now that we've got that knee plate in place, we'll finish off with the leg here. We'll go down to the foot, take this piece here, flip it up, and then right in there, we're going to flip the toe out, and then the little toenail all the way out. These pieces are going to rotate and flip over to form the sides of the feet. And then this piece here is really neat. We'll take this piece, unclip it. I hear the spikes falling. I hear them. This one's about to fall into the vortex here. Let's get that out of there before that happens. Okay, where were we? We were at the foot right here. So we're going to untab these apart from each other, and these are going to split. And then you're going to untab this. Use this hinge right here with this ball joint to flip this thing around and over, and then close these up. And then there is, let me flip that back around again. There's a slot right here that this tab and this tab are going to go into to form one solid piece. So we're going to take that, tab it in there, bring this, close this one up, and tab that in there. And that's going to form the heel. Then we're just going to rotate this leg here at the ball joint. And then we're going to rotate that around, I think, there. And there we go. There's one leg done. And now we repeat for the other side. And there we have both legs done. And one thing I did forget to mention was on this panel right here, we never finished that off. So we're going to use that lever with the double hinges and the double ball joints. We're going to put that flat in there, and we're going to rotate this piece, and there's a tab there that's going to go into this slot right here. So there were 4 of those, so 1 on each side of each leg. So those are done. So the legs are pretty much all done. We're going to come down here to the bottom. Remember these 2 clips here? We're going to close those off, and then we're going to start working on the hips here to get standing. So you're going to want to, I was trying to get him in a sitting position to do the upper body, but I have to stand him up to show you this next step right here, because we have to do a lot of rotation. These hip joints are super tight. All right, so we are going to want to move his arms up and out of the way. Move these out of the way. And actually, before I go any further, I did mean to show this off in the middle of the leg transformation, and then I just didn't. So let me take a moment here to show off the inside of him. He actually has a lot of these chambers that we saw in the movie. We can see the molded detail right in here with the little kind of like those claws on those cables that were coming down to attack the Autobots, and the little foundry and the little control center and all of that. So he actually has this molded detail, and it's on both sides. So either side has all of those internal details that we saw when he was in planet mode in the movie, which is really, really neat. So with that there, let's get him standing straight again. Still dropping spikes everywhere. We're going to take these pieces in here, and we want to bring these up. These are on double hinges. So just hinge these up and out, up and over rather. And then this is going to rotate. So you want these little yellow pieces up and out over the... There we go. That's how we had it. So we want those up and over the outside of the hips. And then these pieces here, they're going to close up and tab into place. They're supposed to tab into place. There we go. There's that. These pieces here are on double hinges, so these are going to close up on each other and then just snap into place, one on each side, or rather two on each side. So those are going to close up there and there. And now we can take this upper piece right here and rotate this to straighten out his leg. And I have his legs, I have his upper body and his legs rotated. So let's just rotate this around like that. At least I think, yep, this should be the front of it. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can rotate them. You can rotate the legs or the waist around, and you can rotate the head around. He is pretty symmetrical on all sides, which is actually really neat. He makes for a really, really interesting, cool robot. All right, let me get him standing straight there. We're going to leave these down and out of the way. Move the shoulders up as far as you can get them. And then this whole piece up here should just slide right down. It should just collapse down just like that. We're going to take these pieces of the mold. This part right here is where I wanted to maybe get him in a sitting position, because I think it might be easier to show off if I can get him sitting again. So let's give that a try. And then it's coming closer. Because I was hoping this would actually be easier to show this way. So, and I think I might just get it. All right, so these pieces here on these panels on the sides of the mold, these are going to unclip, and they're both going to angle, one towards the front and one towards the back. So we're going to bring this forward like so and flip it around. This piece is going to rotate in, and then you're going to, does it go in all the way? We're going to feed this mandible right into that hole right there and feed it all the way in and through his body. Just like that, and then bring the chest pieces up and close this up. And there. Those should tab in place. And now if we go around the back, this whole sitting thing may not work out the way I had hoped. This came off, obviously. That came off, so I need to put that back in place. All right, so then we're going to fold that mandible in right there. So again, we're going to bring this down, flip the mandible over and rotate it and feed it right through that little hole right in there. All the way through his body, close that up, and then close these up on their double hinge and snap those into place. And I think at this point, I have no choice but to stand them back up again and finish this transformation standing up. Okay, home stretch here. We're almost done. So the last thing we're going to do here, well, the almost last bit of transformation, and it's just a matter of finishing, putting them back together. We're going to take this piece here. This is going to split, and this is going to open. We're going to form his collar right here. So we're going to take these pieces. They're on a double hinge. We're going to bring them out and back, fold the teeth in. So again, out and back, fold the teeth in. Flip this thing backwards so that you can fold all of these teeth in, and then put that back in place. And then we're just going to bring this whole thing forward to form his collar. Something's getting in the way here. What happened? There you go. Fold these back. That's going to form his collar. Bring out the horns, and that is Unicron almost done. We'll go ahead and push him back here. So the last little bit left here to do is going to be to attach all of the spikes that came off of him and then put his wing pieces back on. And here we have Cell or Unicron in his completed robot mode. And as you can see, I've backed up my camera all the way back as far as I can go because this guy is absolutely massive. It is a sight to be seen. He stands approximately 20 inches tall. This guy is almost as tall as some of my Shogun warriors. He's absolutely massive. And just to kind of show that off, here he is. I just recently got this guy. So here he is next to Siege Jetfire, who is another absolutely massive figure. And you can see he just absolutely dwarfs Jetfire. This figure is absolutely massive. He's gorgeous. He's a sight to be seen. Here he is with G1 Prime. Just because G1 Prime's always here in case I need more ice in my drink. Look at that. Just absolutely dwarfs him. Now, granted, he's not as big as like a HasLab. I can't imagine what it would be like trying to shoot a HasLab Unicron because of the sheer size of that thing. I wouldn't even know where to, honestly, where I would even display that thing. As it is, this guy here is big enough that he's giving me trouble trying to find him a good home here on my shelf. But as you can see, he's just absolutely gorgeous, stunning figure. A really nice representation of Unicron as we saw him in the animation. Now, I want to point out that the colors on him, you see how the arms are all nice and yellow, just like we saw him in the animation. Those panels that I showed off earlier during the planet mode that make the planet look animation accurate, if you were to leave those panels on here for robot mode, he'd have blue or gray shoulders and the forearms. So these would actually be the same color as the planet panels were. So I like to leave it like this because this is the way I display him in robot mode. I want him looking with the yellow arms. So there's that. And yeah, let's just go all the way around. And this is something that I find so neat about this figure is that he is so symmetrical. When you look at his back looks exactly like his front. So you can swap out the arms, turn the legs around, turn the head around, and he'd still be facing the same way. So that's actually such a cool feature. It's not really a feature, but it just makes for a really nice symmetrical robot all the way around. He looks so nice, and you can see all of the details on him. He's absolutely beautiful. Now, a couple of things that I do want to show off, and they're not really going to be... I'm going to have a hard time showing. So I'm going to get in close here on the head. And first off, we're going to look at the detail on the head because it's absolutely gorgeous. And I want to show off kind of a couple of things here. So you got the articulation. His head can move up and down. It can tilt. It can turn side to side. And the mouthpiece can open. Now, you'll remember that for planet mode, we had this button up here that you could press to light up the mall. Now, he also has another button on the back here, and when you press this button, this is going to actually light up the eyes right there, which is really neat that they did that, where it's got two separate light gimmicks so that you don't have the eyes lit up with a big old beam coming out of the top of his head. That's actually really neat. However, for my copy, I don't know why, but the LEDs for the eyes are super dim, and you're probably seeing they're on right now. You cannot see them in the camera with the lights that I have here on my review table. I'd have to turn all these lights off to be able to see them. I'll give it a shot, but I can't promise that we're going to see anything. Yeah, see, you can barely see those lights right there. So the eyes are lit, but for whatever reason on mine, these LEDs are super dim. It doesn't make much of a difference. I've seen other people that have this figure, have other versions of this figure. Press that button. It's just a little push button. That when you press on that button, the eyes really do light up. Unfortunately, that is not the case for my copy. Kind of a shame, but still, it's just one of those things that you kind of show it off once, but once you have them on the shelf, you're not really, showing it off all that much. So that's fine with me. Just kind of going up and down here so you can see all of the details on this guy. He's just absolutely stunning. Check this out. All of the detail on this guy is really, really well done. Bring this back up here, and we'll back out again. And again, I have to back this camera out as far as it'll go just to show off the entire figure because he is so massive. Articulation-wise, we just looked at the head. The shoulders, as you saw, can go in and out. They can also go all the way out on that transformation hinge right there. So if you're going to do any kind of poses that require that shoulder to extend, you'd be able to do that. Moving that back up again, the shoulders can go forward and backwards all the way around, which I'm not going to do. You got a rotation at the bicep. You got a nice bend at the elbow all the way up like that. The wrists, actually you do have a double hinge at the elbow right there. Wrists can rotate. The fingers are articulated. The thumb has a ball joint at the base, and then it's got a pin joint here at the base and at the mid knuckle. Every one of the fingers are ball jointed at the base, so you can actually kind of like spread his fingers apart some. And they also have pin joints at the mid and outer knuckle. So really, really nicely detailed and articulated fingers right there. You can rotate at the waist. There is like a double hinge inside of the waist here that actually allows you to do moving things out of the way here. It allows you to do an ab crunch, which is super tight, but it is a thing that you can do. Rotation at the waist. The legs, as you saw during transformation, can move forward. Super, super tight ratchets. I'm not even going to move them all forward all the way. They can also go in and out. Rotate at the thigh. You got this hinge here. This is for transformation, but it can be used. You got a nice bend at the knee. And then the ankles, the toes can move. The sides here can move. This piece can move. You can go, you have a double hinge at the ankle here that allows you for ankle tilt when you're posing him, which you need to do because of his little side toes here. You can't really put his legs next to each other, so you kind of got to give him an A stance. And because of that, you also want to make sure that you tilt his feet in and give him a nice flat foot there so he can support himself nicely. No real weapons to speak of. It's Unicron. He doesn't need any weapons. He is a weapon. This is just an absolute massive and beautiful, really imposing. It really is a centerpiece. It just draws attention. It demands attention when it's on display. Really, really nice piece in any collection. Again, I don't have the HasLab Unicron. I probably never will. I couldn't imagine trying to display that. I do like having a bit of a smaller option. It's still a massive figure. Like I said, 20 inches tall. He's almost as tall as my Shoguns. So it is an impressively large figure that you're still able to put up on your shelf and display along with Transformers and 1. It makes it a little easier to display. Really nice, really animation accurate. The transformation is not, but once you learn the transformation, it's really not that complicated. It's kind of straightforward and intuitive. The joints can be tight and they can be hard to work with, but it's really not that bad. And it's just one of those that trying to show it off on camera, putting a tripod and a camera between yourself and this figure when you're trying to transform it is just asking for things not to go well. But you know, when you don't have the camera, it actually transforms much better. I've actually had quite fun with this figure. It's not bad to transform, really. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I guess I should mention this part of the articulation. The horns can move, I suppose. I don't know if that's something you can do if you want to do it. Big thanks to James Laughing Cat. Again, longtime personal friend and supporter and channel member. Thank you so much for this generous gift. Absolutely blew my mind. Like I've seen, I mean, James has brought me figures before, but he's never, I mean, he just showed up at my house with this figure and said, here you go, I want you to have this for your channel. And I was just absolutely mind blown. I couldn't believe it. I still kind of can't, because it's just, I mean, you just look at this figure. Just look at it. Just looking at it, you go, I can't believe I have that. Really amazing figure. Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate the generous gift. And I appreciate your friendship as always. And yeah, I will treasure this guy always. Thank you so very much. That does it for, I think that's about going to do it for probably the most convoluted and complicated review I've ever had to do. Maybe James was playing a prank on me. Here you go. Review this, asshole. This is a big, giant, complicated, difficult to transform figure. Here, do a video on this. Maybe he was playing a prank on me. I don't know. But whatever the case, thank you, James. Much appreciated. We'll treasure this figure. And I think that about does it for the most convoluted, complicated, review I've ever done. What did you think of this? This is the Studio 01 Cell, or, you're a third-party Unicron. What did you think of this figure? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.